Good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
Hi, Cathy.
Good. How are
Okay.
you?
We're hanging in there. It's hotter than you know what outside, but it's all good. I can't complain.
Summer.
It's still summer.
True. It's just thick and humid. I can't say anything because Angela's here, so I won't complain too much.
I'm so going to remind you that when you're complaining about the snow later this year.
Sweetheart, I tease myself all day long. I'm like, I tell everybody, stay cool because pretty soon we're going to be complaining it's cold.
Yeah.
And every winter and every summer, I tell everybody, it's like, I'm so glad I'm not a pioneer and I live in a sod house.
You don't live in a sod house.
Yeah, I don't live in a sod house.
Okay.
I'm not a pioneer that lived in a sod house. I have air conditioning.
I thought you said that I'm not a pioneer and I live in a sod house. And I was like, you don't live in a sod house.
The thing is, the pioneers didn't know anything different, so it was just what it was.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just
I didn't have AC or central heat.
I'm grateful when it's super cold. I don't have to go hitch up a horse to drive home. Just saying, there's good things to come. It's all relative.
Me too, because I'm afraid of horses.
Oh no, really?
I love them. Well, I love them, and I can actually get into a pasture with them, but I've had some horse run-ins that have not been very friendly. I had one horse that liked standing on my feet and leaning, and then I had another one bite me. So I like them, but I'm leery of them. So I don't know that I would be a good pioneer to begin with because I'm not a horse. I love them from a distance. Yeah.
Oh, I love them. I love them. They change my heartbeat.
Do they?
Yeah.
My grandson is going to probably be eligible for horse therapy.
How cool is that?
Oh, that's good.
Right?
They're magical creatures.
They are.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about,
I say that, but I went to a huge equestrian school too. My college has 100 horse barn. So I was around horses. I've been around horses most of my life. I'm a little more leery of them than I used to be. Well, we'll just put that. The bite is what caused that.
I get that. My thing is snakes, but it's all good. Should we talk about?
I like snakes too.
You?
Yep.
Snakes don't.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm super fearful of them.
They're beautiful creatures.
If they're not poisonous, they don't bug me.
No.
There's something I'll tell about. That's a phobia we can talk about later. I have a true phobia that my brother and my cousin caused, so it's all good. Because I ran by a rattlesnake and they kept the rattle and scared me for like months on end afterwards. So I truly have a true fear of them.
That's a different story.
Yeah. Maybe you should be afraid of your brother and your cousin.
Yeah, it's all good. They turned out to be good men, so it's fine.
That's good to hear.
Right, I'm just saying, when the kids do, or we do. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of uncomfortable situations, shall we talk about using the products that we use to maybe try new products? Right? Not keep staying in the same old rut.
Like trying new products instead of just staying in our rut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's lots of cool stuff out there.
There is. Most definitely. And we're so focused in on what we're doing most of the time and using what we use that even when I'm ordering stuff from my store, I tend to just go back to the same thing over and over and over again. Unless I actually look at the flyer for Checker, right? And say, there's new pins in here for long armors. Do we need to try those? Right.
I saw those. I'm gonna get some and put them on my website. I'll try them first because I don't sell anything that I haven't used and don't like.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But so we were talking, the three of us were talking earlier, which is where this conversation started, about magic pins, which are really cool. They have tons of different ones now. The first time I looked at them, there was only like three types of pins that you could choose from, and there's like 20 now. So who knew? But they have long arm pins now, and they're heat resistant. They have silicone tips instead of pearls, so you don't have to worry about them shattering if the long arm gets a little close to them and hits them. Yeah.
Or
Ask me
falling
how
off.
I
I
know.
find the pearl head part is starting to fall off, even new ones.
Yeah.
Well, I like the magic pins because they're a cylinder, so fatter at the top and then skinnier towards the pin. So when you're grabbing them, they're easier on my hands to grab than sometimes the flat flower.
Well, and because they're silicone, they're grippy instead of being slick like a pearl head would be, right? Like a corsage pin. So yeah, it's just something new that we had all looked at, or two of us have tried, and we were telling Tracey about it. So that's how we started kind of thinking up today's topic was, what other things are we just using because
we always have?
Right. I'm lucky. I have a checker distributor who sits in front of me and says, "Hey, look what's new," and so I get all of the good fun stuff. But that doesn't mean that it's everything. But batting is another thing. I think thread has evolved. I think thread continues to evolve. Bobbins. Where should we go next?
Well, I mean, how many of us just use, like we're using glide thread because we've always used glide thread and it's great. And I do love, and I sell glide. We all sell glide, right? But Prima Soft is another Havendash thread that's also really, really good. There's other manufacturers of thread that have really good products. So, sometimes stepping out of your norm and looking at other things can be helpful. For an example, I used to sell a lot of Superior threads, and then there was a problem that they couldn't get any neutrals. Like they couldn't sell me neutrals, so I couldn't use them and I couldn't sell them to my clients, which is really when I brought Havendash into my store, was because I just couldn't get any beiges, khakis, didn't have them. So knowing what's out there and what runs well, even if you really are married to a certain thread, right, is a good backup to have if you just can't source something at some point and you need to get a quilt done. It's just a good idea to have. And the same thing kind of goes with bobbins, which is really why I used a lot of Superior threads, is I still to this day use a lot of pre-wound bobbins. So, I had back orders with Superior for gray bobbins, gray L-side bobbins for years. I had a back order go for almost 3 years. So knowing everyone that has gray bobbins, right? I've tried every gray bobbin I can out there. And now I have 2 sources that I go back and forth with that I can get bobbins from, right? So that we don't run out of bobbins. Because, we're using a lot of gray bobbins. When you're looking at like grosses, we use about 8 grosses of gray bobbins a year, which is, that's 13. I think a gross is 12 dozen, right? So 144 bobbins times 8. That's a minimum of what we use. Just in my long arming side of the business, and then we sell bobbins too. So when I make gray bobbin orders, they're huge. They're huge.
Our rule of thumb with picking out thread color for our renters is when in doubt, gray.
Right. So yeah, my neutrals are a little bit different than most people because gray, khaki, white, black, right? Lime green.
I know. Yeah. Well, no, I'm with you guys. For customers in their comfort zone.
Yeah, which both of you understand because the 3 of us have had the conversation that I think all of us use lime green as neutral. But I couldn't get lime green pre-wound bobbins. Nobody had them. And that's a problem for me. Like I was like, I don't have any and I can't get any. And I didn't really want to spend the time winding all those bobbins. I could have, right? And talked to one of the manufacturers and said, Cathy was with me at market last year, talked to 2 manufacturers at market last year, one of which says, yeah, we hear you. People have said it for years. And I'm like, okay, went to the next one and said, I really need, and he goes, well, we're coming out with these colors. Would any of these work? And I was like, that one will work. When can I get them? And he got me bobbins, guys.
Fabulous.
So that's the other side of it is understanding, what you're using, the level you're using it at. So when you order the scary amount of bobbins that I ordered at one time, because I think Cathy almost had a heart attack. I was like, okay, what's the minimum I have to order? I can do that. right? It was a lot. I was like,
Right.
I'm the only person that had lime green bobbins at that point. I was fine. But, you know, understanding that, you know, you have to know what your business is to be able to do that. I needed the lime green bobbins because we use right up there with gray. It's probably 5 gross, 6 gross.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's obnoxious the number that we use. So, and then everybody asked me, could you save money winding your own bobbins? I mean, the benefit of winding your own bobbins really is that your top thread and your bobbin thread can be the exact same color if you have 2 cones of thread. And I know, Cathy, you wind bobbins all the time. My thing is, I also have to pay my staff to stand there and wind the bobbins, at which point any saving for not winding my bobbins is gone. So it doesn't, from a business standpoint, for me, it doesn't make sense to pay one of my staff members to stand there and wind bobbins. So, yeah. But yep, so you need to know what's out there. And, you know, I watch, you know, the different wholesalers to see what's coming out. I don't always try it. Sometimes I look at them and go, really? Right.
Yeah.
But
that's why I'm a lurker on Facebook. I look through the groups to see what people are buying as a buyer for a store. I'm a lurker on to see what if I see something pop up in my feed a couple of times, I might start looking at it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same with patterns and different things like that. But there's so many like options in batting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tracey just told us that she's doing a different line of batting now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
and it's working out great.
Mm-hmm.
So I've used the same brand of batting for almost 20 years. It never occurred to me to change. And the distributor that I buy my batting from no longer carries the batting that I have been using for whatever reason. And I was all bummed out and said, oh, well, now what am I going to do? And they actually sent me just a 9-yard bolt of a different brand, the brand of batting that they carry now, to try, which I thought was really nice. It just showed up one day. I didn't even know it was coming.
That's really nice.
And and man, so I used that, and then I thought, okay, well, I'll order a 9-yard bolt of a different type and see. Same brand. And now I have, I think, 4. I've got the 80-20 blend. I've got a bamboo blend. I've got a 100% cotton, and I have a wool. Completely different brand, and I love it.
Good.
So I kind of feel like, oh, that's been around for a really long time. I should have tried it because I really like it. It's just got a different density, even though 80-20 and 80-20 you think is all going to be the same. Mm-mm. It's not. And when you only use one brand of something, you don't know that. Like it doesn't feel anything like the 80-20 of the other one. And I really like the density and the thickness. It's not really thicker, but it's more dense, more like compact. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, I really like it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always fun trying to find new stuff. Yeah. I like trying new stuff. I squirrel pretty easy though.
Yeah, I did the batting thing really quick because I started out with the same brand you used originally. And then there's a batting manufacturer in North Carolina. So I switched to that brand. And the worm company is in Hendersonville. So shipping was really cheap because
I bet.
In Hendersonville, I used to have it shipped to my friend's store before I owned my own store. So because typically it's cheaper to ship big bulky things to a retail location than it is to a home. And the two of us would order our batting and then just split. I would pay her for whatever it was because I was just a professional longarmer at that point. I wasn't, I didn't have my own store, right? And then we swapped. She closed her store and she became the professional longarmer, and then I had a store, so it would be swapped to my store. And then I went to the Dream Company because I could actually drive to the Dream Company if I wanted to. It's about a 3.5-hour drive for me. And they ship it in too. So, but I wouldn't have a problem ordering from any of those 3 companies because I know their battings really well. I've quilted with both of them for a long time. That being said, I've also quilted with the one that Tracey's using. It's great too.
Mhm.
So yeah. It's
Yeah.
knowing where in that line you want to be, right? What you're actually looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But trying the different ones, you'll feel what you'll feel the densities and the textures that you prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding what you like.
Well, I think even, I don't know about you guys, but okay, more so because I have little machines and I have people who come in and who piece more so than long arms. You guys with long arms, I get people are like, well, it has to be like I have to piece with poly thread. I mean, not poly thread, with cotton thread. And I'm like, well, yes and no. I mean, it's changing. And
They don't.
I know. I know. That's what people think. And I talk about Wonderful, how they actually have on their webpage a very beautiful video picture of a flying geese block with 40 weight and 40 weight. What was that?
I don't know. Angela's trying very hard to do something there, very inconspicuously, but the look on her face is screaming something's happening. So
German Shepherd puppy.
Okay.
That's okay.
And she had the cord to my camera in her mouth, pulling
Of
up.
course she did.
I'm like, no, not that.
So you were about to do this.
Woo!
Sorry, everybody. I'm going back to being serious
Continue,
again.
Cathy.
You're right. So back to the flying geese block. They did 40 weight on both bobbin and the top, and then they did 40 weight on the top and the 80 weight in the bobbin. And it's amazing how much flatter it laid. And then they did 80 weight as piecing, and it's even more amazing to see how flat that lies compared to the other. So I think if we get stuck that this is thou shalt, then you get kind of stuck in seeing some beautiful options in your world.
I think that's going to also have a lot to do with where you are and who the big dog people in quilting are in your area. So in my area, like Jane Hall, Pepper Quarry, Georgia Bonesteel, right? All in this part of the country. And they are cotton purist. So they have been teaching for the past 40 years in North Carolina that it shall be cotton. So it's hard here because people really have bought that cotton line. And like if they're using a lot of Aurifil and they're talking to Aurifil ambassadors, they also are being preached cotton. My thing is, if you are using a thread that is actually manufactured for the quilting industry, it's going to be okay. Like if you're using garment thread, you're going to have an issue. Right?
Don't piece your quilts with serger thread.
No, it's okay. Any garment-based thread is designed that if you squat down in a pair of pants that you've sewn, that the material will give before the thread will. I mean, it is supposed to be strong so it doesn't break, right? And that's what you want for your seam in your pants. For your seam in your quilt, you really want the seam to give. You can always restitch it, right? So the thread is actually purposefully manufactured to be not as strong as the fabric. It keeps it from being able to cut into the fabric. Right. Sure. So it's just using thread that's applicable for the application that you're doing at that moment. Right.
But then again, that's where no quilting police are allowed in my door, and you do you. I'm fine.
I don't tell them most of the time they can't tell what type of thread I've used.
Right.
It can be a poly that's manufactured to look like a cotton. And I have had at least one of the ladies I mentioned walk up to a quilt and go, "Oh, that thread is so beautiful. I love cotton thread." And for me to look at them and think, me too.
Yeah. Good.
Like if I was quilting for them, I would use cotton because that's, they would be asking me to do that. And that's fine. If you really are, I have customers that are cotton purists. I do use cotton thread. I prefer Aurifil, but I will use any cotton thread they ask me to, or at least attempt to, right? But they're probably going to be providing the thread too, because I don't actually sell cotton thread in my showroom.
Right.
I don't sell cotton thread either. No.
Oh, I do for piecing, but I don't do it on the long arm at all whatsoever. But I also buck the trend there too and try to find new stuff. So I'm again,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I like
mean,
new threads. I like new fun.
yeah,
It's exciting to get new things
it
to
is.
Right.
try. It's not always going to work out. You're gonna order something or get something and try it, and you're gonna be like, oh, I don't like this.
Right. Right.
But you're also gonna order something or buy something and try it, and you're gonna think, oh my gosh, how did I ever work without this particular
Right.
thing, whatever it may be, whether it's pins or a ruler or I don't
Right.
know, thread or
And it's okay. You don't even want to know how many cutter handles I have donated to my guild.
Right.
Like, I buy a cutter and I'm like, I don't like this. Put it in the guild box.
Right.
Or I'll try to cut with it. I don't like it. I'll say, anybody like the cutter that's on the cutting table? It's theirs. And if none of my staff want it, I'm like, just put it in the guild box. Like, we typically will pop the blade off and put a new, wrap it and a new blade and put it in like a plastic bag for them. But yeah, because I don't want to give it to them with a blade on it because I don't want anyone to cut themselves grabbing into a bag. Right?
Oh, come
I
on.
know.
you said pop them in a guild box. How many handles? And I instantly thought of the freak show boxes that I have of filming equipment.
Right.
I have spent so much money and so much time on this and that and this camera, that camera, this thing, that thing, this boom arm, just I have a lot.
I'm sure you do too, Tracy. I could have bought several long arms with the camera equipment I have.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. The last camera I bought, I could own a Larry.
Wow.
Oh, you win.
I will say I love that camera. I completely love it. It's really easy to use, but it was a big decision on my part.
Crazy.
All right.
Crazy.
I thought I'd spent a ton of money. Clearly not. I guess it's all relative.
I got tired of not having equipment that worked.
No, I
wasn't buying equipment that could work together.
Right.
So dummy me got on the phone with B&H Photo and told them what I did because, they are wonderful. They are lovely people. And I think he was right in what he suggested. It's worked great. But oh my gosh. I was just like, okay, here's my credit card number.
Happily. That'd be sad.
I did it happily at the time too. And then told my husband it was coming in and he's like, do we know how to use it? No.
No, but it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
He told me it was easy to use, and it is. They did not, they didn't mislead me in any way. It is very easy to use. It has great pictures. It's got better resolution than anything I had, right? So, but like Tracy, I could outfit if someone wanted to start YouTube filming, just come talk to me because I've got all kinds of equipment I don't use anymore.
Hey, I got a drone. We have a drone here for the stroller. But did you know if you have a drone, you have to get a pilot's license?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So we thought, hey, this would be a great Christmas present for Jake. And do we have time to get a pilot's license right now? No. Oh, good.
You have to have a license to fly a drone. And you can't fly them just anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Military space for sure.
You might be okay at your showroom, but I don't think you'd be okay at your house.
Oh, no, for sure. At my house. No way.
And at my neighborhood, we're in a landing part for the international airport. You can't use drones in my neighborhood at all.
Right. Oh, for sure. For sure.
I'm sure they're doing it inside their houses, but like outside,
right.
I have no idea if we have rules here for those or not.
I'm sure the FAA or whatever you guys have for your aviation rule
the CAA,
people.
Canadian. Yeah.
Couldn't tell you. It's never been a thing that matters to me.
Well,
yeah. Well, but there are reasons that you might want to use a drone inside your showroom when you're quilting because you want to get like a panoramic view or a really high view if you have ceilings like hers. Tracey and I don't have ceilings like hers. But you can also do things like there's cameras that actually will track you and move with you as you're walking around.
I have those.
Yeah. So I don't have those, but those are really cool, right?
Not the cameras. I have
The mounts, Movo mounts or whatever they're called.
DJI. What's it called? They have a name. You can put them on a tripod and all that kind of stuff, and then it will track, it will move either the phone or the GoPro or the whatever.
I thought it was Movo, but that may be a brand of them.
Right. I think you're right. I don't know what the name of it's called either, but we had, yeah, it's good.
I have 3.
You have 3, and they have names.
And we forget because we're quilters.
And I use none of them.
But here's the thing that we just kind of glossed over. We do long arm quilting, right? And we run businesses. That's what we do for a living. Did you guys know that we were into camera equipment too? Because it's part of what we do for a living. But it's kind of cool that we have other likes that are similar too, because, well, I don't know if it's a like at this point. It's a money pit that I'm financing over here.
It's an endless pit.
Yes.
It's an endless pit of crap. That didn't work. Try again. You buy the next thing and it's like, this is going to do it. Kind of like when I started long arming and then the internet became a thing. And then I became with this obsession. I call it now it's a bin because everything's in a bin of bad decisions. Because this long arm ruler was going to make me the best long armer in the world. Well, it's just a hunk of acrylic. So, this cool tool, that's going to make me the best. Like,
maybe we should do a thing alive on the bin of bad decisions.
Oh, that's a good one.
I would have too much shame. I had bought some pretty weird stuff. It's like, what was I thinking?
Right?
Why did you buy that?
I have bought
if you walk of shame
that I'm sure that there's a use for. I'm positive there's a use for. But like, I can't even find a video online that shows how to use them.
Use what again?
I have rulers that I have bought that I'm sure that there's a use for. My favorite one is riding in a van full of long armors. We were going over to Tennessee to a big quilt show. Sorry, not store. And we're in a huge 15-passenger van. I think there was like 8 or 10 of us in there. And the lady sitting next to me pulls out this acrylic ruler that she had bought the year before and was going to go to the booth and ask them how to do another demo because she couldn't figure out how to use it. And somebody said, hand it to Angela. She's a custom quilter. She'll know how to use it. So she hands it to me and I look at it and I'm like, what is this for? She told me, and I'm looking at it. It looks like a lopsided flower. And I went, I don't know how you would use that. And I start passing it forward. It got all the way to the front. The 2 ladies in the very front, the driver and the passenger in the very front, were our big dog long armors in the area that were winning all the awards. Both looked at it and went, huh? Like none of us could come up with how to use it. And they weren't at the show that year. As a matter of fact, I have not seen that particular manufacturer at a show since then. So that one is in my bin of bad decisions because my friend's like the one that nobody can tell me how to use.
Right. Oh,
and I'm sure that it had a perfectly logical use. But I mean, there were a lot of custom quilters in that van, and none of it. We were all like,
don't get it.
And this isn't to say any brand is bad. It's just if you can't figure out how to use it, it's a bad decision for you, right? Whether it's the best thing since Swiss cheese or not. If you can't figure out how to use it would be in your bin of bad decision. But here's the beautiful thing about this. It's not going to be in someone else's bin of bad decision.
Right.
So
I should have an auction.
Right.
I could buy more useless camera equipment.
There
with all the money I make off all the rulers I sell.
Maybe I could sell off all my old camera equipment and buy another one of those cameras. Because
oh, you guys, this is too funny.
As I'm telling my husband I need hair lights the other day, and he went, highlights in your hair? Is that what hair lights are? And I was like, no, it's a light on a boom. And he was like, I'd rather pay for the highlights. And I'm like, thanks, honey. Are you trying to tell me I'm going gray? Are you trying to
Yes, I'm going gray.
Yeah.
We're good.
I have tons of gray. That's all gray.
Same.
I
Wear
don't
it
care.
proudly now. It's all good.
I don't know. The picture in the car with you and Mel yesterday, your hair looked the same, both of you. You could so tell she was your daughter.
Yes, by far.
So gorgeous.
I'm so proud of her.
You should
Yay.
be. She's wonderful.
Her future is so bright.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
kind of fun watching the kids.
Subject change because I'm going to cry all over the place.
Oh, yes. Well, the thing about sometimes bad decisions, quote, our bad decisions, lead us to better discern the next decision. At least I try for at least one or two. Then I go back probably to my bad decision.
Well,
but at least it helps a little bit.
What her decision to buy that taught me about acrylic is to be a little more to ask more questions when I'm buying acrylic.
Right.
Is there a video on this?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Have you filmed a video on this? Can I get to it from your YouTube site, from your website? Especially if it's like
that's the thing now, though. But Angela, when I was buying rulers, like the internet had just become a thing, so like nobody was filming videos and teaching you how to use it. It may or may not have come with
a piece of paper,
with some, hold this here, stitch here, look what you get kind of thing. But there was no big instruction.
Right.
Right. It's different now.
Right. I would love to tell you that this was back then, but there was the internet at this point. we had no excuse.
Well, I guess there was internet. I mean, I started in 2006, but it wasn't like there was no YouTube. There was
we didn't have the presence on YouTube that we do now,
right?
And we didn't have as many people filming as we do now.
Yeah.
But as a manufacturer, if you're manufacturing something, right, you should have videos out there.
Yeah.
Right. So if you think it's the greatest thing ever invented, then you should film a video on how to use it. Right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree.
And we'll come up with 100 other ways to use it. Right. But that's kind of my thing now, especially in nowadays, there should definitely be a video.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
If not by them, they might say, I don't have one, but so-and-so has a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. For sure.
So yeah.
No. Don't be afraid to try new things though, or at least go to demos and see if you can come find some things, or go to your store, go to your local quilt store to see if they have it, if they can get it in for you. And then if you can demo it, if they could demo it, because that's such a thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have to.
And this goes for domestic stuff too, because like you can buy different hoops and stuff for your embroidery machine, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
There's magnetic hoops and there's lots of different type of hoops you can get for your embroidery machine that aren't necessarily made by your manufacturer.
Right.
And then you buy them and you're like,
how
do I use this? Right. I know how to put the one from the manufacturer and I can get it. It's for my mom's machine, not mine, but I can get it installed. This hoop I bought her. That's as far as we get. We get it installed. And then I'm like, how do I actually get the material on here? It's supposed to be quick. And I don't have them for my machine, but I thought it would be better for her because it was supposed to be quick. Right. And I can't.
I think we need to talk after.
And I bought it to show for her because of course I did. Of course I did. Because that's what I do.
Right. Because she's adorable. Your mom, she's your mama.
She's my mom. And she's still like today she is at a sewing club. Today, or she's at an embroidery club. So yeah, she's still sewing, and I mean, as long as she's going to do it, we're going to encourage her to. So yeah.
So here's another thought that I just had. So all of us have stores, and if you all hear any good products that you really like, we need to hear about them.
Yeah.
Because we can help you and help spread the beautiful word of what you have learned yourself. Like, and share the good news, right? I love sharing the good news.
Yeah.
So I love hearing what my customers like.
Yeah. And then it's not just product, it's also ideas too. Because you'll come up with the next great idea and start doing it and then think, this is really great with me talking to the video about myself, but it would be a lot more fun if I brought a friend in. Right. But then it would be really a lot of fun if I brought two of my friends in, right? So, and I used to do all my videos by myself. So having Cathy and Tracey here is a lot more fun than just me by myself, right?
Oh,
So
Always.
it's not just products,
right.
it's everything you're doing to do your business. At least once a year, you should sit down and think about the different processes you're doing and decide, do I need a different product to do that? Do I need, to bring a friend in to help me? How do I make this easier? And that's not, and I say your business, but really, if you're a hobby quilter too, you need to sit down in your studio every once in a while and go, do I really need all the stuff sitting around me? Or do I need new stuff? Right? Like, do I want new stuff and not what I have sitting around me? Because it's okay to have fabric in your stash that's still, Williamsburg blue and dusty pink, right? It's actually coming back this year. Dusty pink is a really popular color this year. So you've waited long enough now.
80s.
But yeah,
80s are back. Woo, woo.
But when we get over this dusty pink being really popular again, you may want to get rid of it because it's going to be another 30 years. Yes. Okay. So we're hitting our 30-year cycle. Is what
The music was so good in the 80s too.
No
The
kidding. You know
hairbands.
what? It's still being played, man. We don't see. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I
We're
certainly
still
hope
playing.
so because I listen to it every day.
There's still radio stations on that have the 80s.
Hey,
They
Yacht
can't be
Rock.
that bad.
You like using? I love rock. Have you listened to Yacht Rock?
No.
Yacht Rock. Yacht Rock is great.
See, I need to listen to. See, this is why I have friends for new ideas.
Is that a band? Or
No,
is it
it's
a
a
type of
genre.
music?
It's like boat music, or like the Pina Colada song is on there, and some of that kind of song.
What's a Pina Colada song?
Well, we can't sing it because we'll get a hit.
Oh, I'll look it up later.
Google that.
Yeah, and it's a yacht. If you look up it's called a genre, yacht rock.
Okay.
So we have a station here that listens to it. It's in 60s, 70s, and 80s, but a little bit more mellow, Barry Manilow, things like that. A little bit more mellow music that you're hanging out on the beach to, and things like that. Hence the name Yacht Rock. But my girls are wearing mom jeans. I tease them all the time. I'm like, oh, look at mom jeans and that sweater with the like cute little V and I should have kept mine.
My daughter wears mom jeans.
Yes.
Have you seen the meme that says, you say what you want about your grandmother? She used to rock mini skirts and bell bottoms. And this was a couple of years ago when they were popular again.
I put a meme out like that. This is what your quilting grandmother used to look like.
Yeah. Like, she was like really rocking hot. I'm just
yes. I love.
You're going to get to this age too.
Exactly. I look at my children now because they teased me about our wedding and my big poofy sleeves on my wedding dress and my big poofy hair. And I'm like, oh, Claire Bear might go to my granddaughter. Come here, we're going to have a talk. And
I'm going to married in the 80s.
I did.
Yeah.
Hence the puffy sleeves and the big hair.
Back look.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. I cut up my wedding dress to make 2 first communion dresses for my daughters. Not just 1, but 2. That's how much fabric there was.
Wow, that's a lot of fabric.
Yes. So I like teasing. It's all good. But like I said, I'm going to take my granddaughter aside and I'm going to tell her to start teasing her mama about stuff.
See, and I donated my wedding dress years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, the chances of any of my kids wearing wedding.
Well, my mother's wedding dress was gorgeous. My sister, who was so thin when she got married, tried to put it on. There was no way that we were gonna close that thing. I think my sister wore an 8 when she got married.
Wow.
My mother wore an 8 when she ordered the dress and lost a lot of weight while she was before she got married. And we think she may have been down at like a 2. And, we're talking about someone who's 5'8". So she's not a short person.
Oh, wow.
Very, very thin. So she goes, oh, it's a size 8 to my sister. My sister tried it on. She goes, yeah, there's no way. Which was funny because I don't think my sister had ever tried anything on that didn't fit her.
Look at where we went from pink fabric and blue fabric to the
80s. We're back to the 80s. We're living in the 80s, everybody.
Well, because the soft blue and the dusty pink was I had an outfit that.
Yes. Oh, those are my favorite
I
colors.
had an outfit that had a pink, that dusty pink top, and the pants were blue.
Mhm.
Yep.
For sure.
I have towels still from the, no, not still. I use them for my dogs, but yeah. When I went to college, it was very much the color scheme.
Right. Oh my God.
So, and it was so cool in our dorm room.
Right.
All those things change and we adapt to the change.
Yeah.
That kind of brings the conversation to a full circle, really.
It does. Absolutely. And but we tried them, right? And the idea is to try new things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Not
and
be
you know
afraid.
that you may go back to what you started with eventually.
Mhm.
You may not.
Hey,
And that's okay too.
rule breakers change the world.
Very
Yeah.
true.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Well, should we say toodaloo for today and say see us next time?
Absolutely.
All right.
Sure.
But make sure you give us a thumbs up and a like, share, get your friends to do a watch party maybe. Let us know if you're doing some of those fun things.
Definitely comment and tell us, we'll reply back.
Yes, we're working. Yes.
Yes. We were a little party, but we've replied back to everyone at this point.
Yes, we have. That was it's not that we don't love everybody. It's just we're getting pulled in a few other different directions, and some big things have happened in all of our little lives recently. So
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up.
It is.
I feel like the water's right here, and every once in a while I do this. Whew, and this is what's going on. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Every day.
Yeah.
Like I tell everybody, live in the dream. Some days I feel the dream more than others.
Yeah.
Some days
Someday
it's not a
I-
dream. Some days it's a freaking nightmare.
And some days you just feel your age because of the dream.
Absolutely. Yep. It's all good though.
You guys are fabulous. Thanks for spending the day with us. Bye.
Bye.
Try something new.